Hey guys, welcome to Trinity Force Podcast. It is episode 506 coming at you. We are in your ears, in your car, in your radio. We love being right there and listening to you guys, or rather you listening to us. We'd love to listen to you too. If you want to send us an MP3 of you talking, because that's better than writing an email, we'll listen to it. Hell, we might play it on air.
Oh my god, I can't remember the last time we played somebody on air. I remember when that was like a thing and it would happen all the time, and then
Yeah, I didn't want, it was back when I was putting the show together and then Lance first started producing it, and I just didn't, I felt bad to have him have to cut that stuff in, and then I couldn't figure out how to play it on air when we were going live, and I just kind of killed the phone number thing. Plus, it got really creepy at one point. Like, Sean started getting random phone calls, and I don't know if that was because of the T-Force number. I just kind of just killed it at that point.
that is a little weird.
Yeah, I remember we got that voicemail somewhere. He saved it and sent it off to us, but I might have deleted it. I don't know. I don't really have too much. We lost pretty much everything in the server move of 2 or 3 years ago, but that's not here or there. Guys, you can go check us out. What do we have? By the time you listen to this, it'll be February, right? Because tomorrow's the last day of January. No, Wednesday's the last day of January. So by the time you listen to this, it'll be January. I don't know about you guys, but this month has seemed like the longest month ever.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
Honestly, I'm sort of in the middle. It felt like January. I don't know. I feel like it's about state its welcome, and it's about to be February, so...
Right, and then we go into the shortest month with 28 days, from 31 to 28 days. But anyway, so yeah, it'll be about the 31st by the time you guys listen to this. We appreciate everything you want to do. That means you get a couple days to get on here. I recommend if you want to subscribe to us on Patreon to do it on Thursday on the 1st, or else you're going to get double charged if you do it on the 31st, because it charges instantly the moment you put your credit card information in there. And it automatically charges on the 1st of the month as well. So if you don't want to spend $20, I mean, if you do it. Otherwise, just go ahead and wait until Thursday. You can subscribe for $5, get Beaver's Meta Report podcast, or you can subscribe for $10, get Meta Report and Champion Select. I have Lucian, I believe, coming out next month, and then I'm going to start kicking some more into the future. Other than that, BuddhaBoxers.com/T-Force to get yourself some nice boxers. And we're going to roll into some discussion tonight. I pulled a bunch of topics down that I want to talk about.
Sure.
That I do want to talk about the Flex Queue report, but I feel like it'd be better off if we got more people in on it. Not because Todd and I couldn't talk about Flex Queue report, but we have not played nearly as many games as Dom, Beaver, Chira, and Punch have, for example. I mean, I think all of you have finished your placements. Is that correct?
Todd, are you done with your placement? Oh, okay. Yeah, I finished my Flex Queue placements, so...
Right.
I haven't played a single Flex match this season.
Well, you and I will queue up and do it, since I should be in that MMR range.
Shouldn't Adam be too? The three of us can play together, right? We should play a Flex game after the show.
For sure.
Yeah, we should be, because I ended last season Plat 2 or 3 or something. I think it was 3 in Flex Queue. Plat 2. Actually, it might have been Plat. It doesn't matter. Ended Plat, so we can play together. Yeah, but I wanted to follow up with patch 8.2 from last week, the new support itemization and the bot lane pressure piece of this, just mainly being that now supports theoretically have an extra 800 gold in their pocket because they don't have to buy Sightstone. There's some new items out there. Dom, I'm kind of like leaving this door open for you to kind of talk about how it feels to be playing support now that you're a little richer.
I don't feel richer.
Because
honestly, I more feel annoyed that I am sort of stuck on this ambient gold gen / taking specific actions in order to get my ward, as opposed to, or my ward item, as opposed to just being able to get it, right when I have the money, right when I want it. I typically put a lot higher value on that than the average player did, so I might be in the minority here. But it's just kind of it's kind of frustrating that I can't, employ some of the warding strategies that I used to use, because I functionally have, 2 fewer wards at any given time than I otherwise had. You can talk about, yes, you can still use your trinket ward to get deep wards, but hey, those are shorter, and that means it's a ward that you don't have for the lane. And there were a lot of times where you could set up, like a deep ward, and then your laning protection ward with another control ward, and then you were still sitting on one if you needed one for vision, like during a fight or something. And I just don't have all those available. And I have not noticed 80 carries getting better about it. We played with a handful of pickups during our Flex Queue games, And Punch has always been good at warding, and so he was fine when he was playing AD carry. But when we were playing with the random people, it's like no, it's noticeable that there's a lot less vision, and I'm not surprised when more and more junglers are looking bot lane right now.
Which it might be patch 8.1, because it was probably actually patch 8.1. People were saying don't look bot lane at all. It's just not worth your time to go down there anymore, because there's obviously a lot of vision, and the fact that AD carries are always super healthy, or can get healthy more quickly even after a failed flash gank. So more and more junglers were focusing top and mid instead of bot. And I'm wondering if it with 8-2 now, with the lack of vision, bot laners are starting to pile back down on the bottom, because marksman, for example, runic shield is no longer a good item for them to start because the healing was all halved and whatnot. We'll talk about that a little later. But have you been able to play any normals or anything with like mage supports to see if any of those have gone up, or do we? I guess any numbers even say that mage supports maybe come back.
It's funny. I've run into a lot of mage supports, and I think I beat all of them.
Like sample size.
Enchanters.
Okay.
I mean, I played like 10 games over the course of last week or something. It wasn't a crazy number, but
right.
I think mage supports still have worse items than the enchanter supports do right now, and enchanter supports being so common, enchanter supports can out heal or out sustain or absorb more of the damage than the mage supports are really able to put out right now. And it's just because the itemization is friendlier. When mages start getting meaningful damage items, the enchanters are already getting ability power, which improves their heals or shield. And then on top of that, they're getting shielding and healing power, both from runes and from, Ardent Center or whatever the hell else they decide to prioritize. And so it's always one of those situations where the enchanters are a little bit better off because they're scaling with two different things, and the mage supports only get one type of scaling stat.
Gotcha. So does that, I guess this, we say they have an extra 800 gold, but are you kind of forced into purchasing the upgraded pieces of those items before like your starting items before you're able to or purchase anything else? You know what I'm saying? Like
you want to get it quickly. And it's because if you delay upgrading to the tier 2 level, you don't get the Sightstone at all. Mm-hmm. And so upgrading to tier 2 gives you more opportunity to generate gold, whether it's more relic shield charges or more procs of the from the spell thief, or just more income from the coins that are dropping. It's a lot of different things, but ultimately it's more income, and that's going to get you to your ward faster, which I hope AD carries start to be mindful of, since support recalls are usually timed with the AD carry. Like, getting back earlier helps out the support a lot more than it used to now, or at least it's going to help get vision in the lane a lot faster.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I don't think AD carries are going to intentionally be mindful of that just yet. I mean, it's just not. It's not in the nature of the role. But
no, you're expecting people after 7-8 years of this game to be able to look at the mini map or even ward, for God's sake, and they're still not doing that. And then I don't know how many of these players have been playing, and for how long they've been playing for. But if the marksmen you're playing with outside of the core group are not even warding when they have a moment to ward, or like even a bush ward, that doesn't really say too much about them being mindful that other items have been changed. I can't imagine even. I think it's something like, what'd they say, something like 10% maybe people read patch notes.
That wouldn't be surprising. So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of trying to withhold judgment on this change yet. It was, I mean, I've played a number of games on it, and I don't feel like it's better. I don't feel like it's worse. So that's why I'm like, I just need to pay closer attention and maybe get an opportunity to really play some of the mage supports and see if they feel better with this. I've played, a number of tanks and a number of enchanters, and it was like, it feels about the same, except on a handful of champs. I can't get Talisman when I would have been inclined to get Talisman, and that was a bummer. There was one Alistar game that was really brutal because we had a bad matchup, and I would have started coin just so that I could get Talisman way earlier. And instead I was super delayed in getting Righteous Glory. And I really struggled throughout the course of the game because I didn't have that. Part of that's just a mindset thing. I got to change how I'm approaching it. But, I feel like there's less flexibility in my start right now.
Yeah. I thought there would be more flexibility, but then the fact that you have to upgrade it to tier 2 to even be able to complete the quest kind of does suck, because you are forced into that first back buy.
Yeah.
Before you could kind of like delay for that tier 2, you could go right into like a ruby crystal or something, or extra wards and stuff. You kind of had a little more flexibility, and it's not something that we took into account last week when we were discussing, or something I hadn't even thought of until after really looking over the items.
It'll be interesting next patch with them swapping the position of the free boots with the biscuits. You could always get boots and biscuits if you wanted to go that route, but now you'll be able to get boots and debt. And that is interesting. That might be something I go into. Yeah, and that might be really, really helpful to supports. Boots are better than debt right now, but I really did like debt the number of times that I used it, and so I've been going with boots, but always kind of begrudgingly. And when they make that change around, I'm thinking I'm really going to like that a lot.
I got you. Sorry, we got it. We're trying to got a little household thing going on. My wife has class on these nights as well, and we have a baby, so we gotta figure this out for the future. So excuse me if I'm a little disoriented as I try to host this evening. I guess she probably heard us. She walked away. So there's something else that I want to talk about rune-wise. We just discussed them swapping the dead items and whatnot out, but mid lane, I've seen people start taking dematerializer more often in the mid lane. And I just thought it was a really interesting strategy to be able to push the lane more quickly, because it seems like the cannon minions is the hardest for any mid laner to push out without spending a ton of mana on, unless they're naturally ahead. So taking dematerializer allows you to kill those those harder to kill minions, so you can roam more quickly. And I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that, even if it's just like, oh, that seems like a cool strategy, you have to try it.
Watching pro play over the weekend, I think all the carry roles were taking a look at minion dematerializer. I mean, it depended on what they were planning to do going into it, but just being able to, even if you're a top laner, and a lot of top laners already split push, well to begin with, but just getting, that's less time that your minion wave is sitting, even spending one auto attack on a minion if you're taking it down that much faster.
And now I know they're going to buff. They were talking about buffing. It might be on the PBE now. If it's not, it's coming soon. They were going to buff that item because not enough people were taking it. They felt like it didn't have a big enough impact in it, and it still does kind of stink all around. But the idea behind mid laners taking it, one, is so you can kill some of those minions more quickly, and two, it's more to have control of the wave so that you can always control mid lane and you can roam around the map as much as you want. One of the things that I had seen that not a lot of people do is after they've destroyed the wave, if the enemy laner's not there, you go ahead and ward the ward middle of the lane, and then you start roaming, because that way you can see who's coming through that lane. It could be a jungler, it could be a mid laner, it could be whatever it is, and you know which way they're going as well.
I was looking at that rune a little bit earlier today. I think it's interesting, to say the least. It seems like it could be really strong if you need just a little bit additional wave clear, since it has that stacking effect where, the minion that you choose to use the dematerializer on, your damage to that type of minion is permanently increased over the rest of the game. So for characters with AoE skills who, maybe you can hit a lot of targets, but maybe the actual damage that it deals isn't, insanely high, and maybe you find yourself like borderline not able to clear minion waves. And I think in those situations, the mastery seems like it could offer a lot of value. If you go from being able to clear the minion wave in one cast as opposed to needing multiple,
the way you play,
that's a lot of map pressure, right?
The way you play, are you usually like full clearing a minion wave with just one spin to win?
Typically,
okay. Because I was just thinking, like, I know cannon minion is the popular one to go for, but let's not ignore the fact that the melee minions do take a lot of damage. Mm-hmm. And so using it on those could, for a number of champions, actually be really efficient.
Well, and you don't
melees are going to be there every wave.
Yeah, you don't have to use it all on one type either, right? Because you get 6 of them. You start the game with 6 of them, and you can use them every 155 seconds. So just,
do they show up with Klepto?
Minion? I don't think so. I've never seen one.
I've never seen one either.
Right. But it's 4% increased damage, the type of minion you use it on, so you would obviously use it first on the melee minions, because, those are usually the hardest ones to kill. A lot of people go, well, I can do this, and I can rotation the back line. And I always think, well, that's fine and dandy, but you want to be able to one rotation the front line, and the back line just falls in that, that one spell you throw out there instead of 2. And that 4% increased damage could help you do that. Then, you start using them on the cannon minion stuff. The only problem that I have with the item is that stacking on top of a minion type only increases it by 1% up to a maximum of 9%. And by the time that you've been able to stack all of those, it's going to be about 30 minutes, and it's really not, the item kind of becomes worthless. Like, it's phenomenal early game, and later you already have the items and damage to make up for it. So
I think that it would be interesting to I lost my train of thought. Hold on.
Well, is it at all an idea, like if you think you're going to go into a lane, bottom lane, that you're going to be forced under the tower the entire time, could it be used as a support to help the AD carry last hit?
Doesn't it just kill the minion?
At first it does, but then you gain the extra 4% increased damage on it. Like, yeah, the first one to the last hit. But I know, but if you're rolling like Runic Shield, right? Like, shouldn't that proc Runic Shield to use the item?
Yeah,
you can only use it once every just over 2 minutes.
Yeah, and you're sort of pigeonholing on this really specific set of circumstances for you to be able to really use that.
Sure.
And then you've also like invested into something that you're, especially if you're buying Relic Shield, you're going to be bad at clearing minions. Alistar has AoE. Alistar is terrible at clearing minions. Leona is terrible at clearing minions without somebody there to help her. And so now you're investing in this item that is trying to make you do something better that you're never going to be good at, no matter. I mean, they could make your damage 50%, and you're still never going to be good at taking those minions.
Right.
Not with the items that you're supposed to be buying.
Yeah, I started. I said it, and I started thinking about it, and the idea behind it is, it's there. It's just I don't think it's going to work as well. It's the same thing. I can't see picking up an AD carry when I could just grab magical footwear at that time, or perfect timing.
I see it useful for a player like Punch out of top lane, because he plays a lot of the fighters who don't necessarily have super high wave clear until they get a handful of specific items. And so to get something that's going to help him either clear the melee or the cannon minions a lot faster than he otherwise would be able to, could be really valuable. Punch isn't inclined to split push by nature, so I don't know if for him specifically, that would be valuable. But a player of his type, the champion, somebody looking at fighters, whereas Todd, you play a lot of the bruisers that you play tend to have a fair bit of AoE in their kits already, and so you burn those waves altogether down fast enough that I don't know that you necessarily need that item if it's going to help you do anything that much better.
I think there is some value in the stacking passive for when you're last hitting under your turret. Some characters, when they're last hitting with their auto attacks, stay just shy of finishing him off. So
I know it.
There might be a little bit of value in there for mid laners, or possibly even supports, who are trying to farm under the turret in certain situations where the AD carry can't get the CS.
Yeah,
I don't know if that makes it worth taking, but
mid lanes, it does help with that, right? Because the caster minions, it takes 2 auto attacks plus a turret shot for a mid laner to kill it. And I mean, it comes within inches. I'm talking, 10 life or something. So adding that extra 4% damage onto those allows you to end up killing those after a turret shot rather than throwing that extra 2 auto attacks in there. So it does help.
Right. And the other side is that supports would start screwing up the last hitting bot lane.
So I think it's worth taking. I want to talk to Vrail about it if he hasn't already taken it.
Vrail did use it.
And he
Vrail did use it. I can't remember what he thought of it.
Okay, I'll have to talk.
I got Vrail to try a lot of different things. I got him to try Nullifying Orb, and he liked it a lot better than he thought he was going to.
Oh.
Saved his life against LeBlanc once, so.
Well, then perfect. If it worked for you once, then I guess it's worth taking in the future, especially if you know what your matchup is, right? So I got another piece I want to talk about tonight. We're talking a lot about items and what ifs in there, but Remnant of Aspect, which is the upgraded item out of Relic Shield now, if I remember correctly. That's right? Remnant of Aspect? Yeah, it has to be. Yes. I wanted to throw this out there because I was thinking about it earlier today, and I'm curious. A Remnant of Aspect is actually hidden good on jugglers right now as a third item or a second item buy, depending on the juggler type. Because if you kind of look at the stats, it only costs 1,900 gold total to get the item, which is actually 1,000 gold cheaper than Warmogs is. And it's kind of like a medium-bodied Warmogs, where it's giving you 500 HP and 200% base HP regen. So rolling into mid-game when you have that extra HP and whatnot, it's kind of like a little tiny little mini Garen passive. And we know how well that works, especially if you're spending some time in between jungle camps. It also has CDR on it, and junglers don't get a lot of CDR. Unless they're, really invested
the
heavily.
tanks do.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And, this also works really well with Cinderhulk. Like, if we're rolling Sejuani type of Cinderhulk jungler, Remnant Aspect ends up working really well with you. And then you can sell it later. It's slot efficient for mid-game, and you can go ahead and sell it, to pick up that 6th item or whatever it is that you need. And eventually, I do believe that if you can get this item quickly enough, that you could definitely upgrade it to help with the warding situation, which also... it opens up your smites options. You don't have to pick trackers up anymore. Now you can get a colored smite if you want to. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, well, it's also cheaper than Knight's Vow by about 300 gold. So maybe it's a top laner's thing they pick up now. You lose some armor in favor of HP, health regen, and CDR. But, in some matchups, is that worthwhile over the extra armor the Knight's Vow is giving you? Especially because you generally lose the passive. Like if a jungler picks up Knight's Vow, we'll say, for example, they lose the passive in the team fight because they're not going to be linked toward their AD carry, for example, because most junglers are diving.
The problem always going to end up being, like, when you buy it.
Yeah, you buy it, third item? You've got Cinderhulk. I mean, if you're a Cinderhulk jungler, you can buy a second item.
You can't get Remnant of Aspect until you have completed the quest.
Right. No, yeah, I know. But the second piece of the item is got the on it, doesn't it?
Got the what on it? The wards?
No, I know you don't need the wards. I'm talking I guess it goes Relic Shield, Targon's Brace, doesn't it? Then Remnant Aspect's upgraded. Well, it's more of, okay, so Targon's Brace is only 850 gold. It's got 175 health and 50% base health regeneration, which is still decent to pick up for 850 gold. I think there's a place for it in junglers like Zac and Sejuani to pick up the Targon's Brace as like a second item after you've picked up Cinderhulk, or even before that, to potentially, you're a good ganker, you're helping out, you start last hitting the minions as you get there, and you can upgrade to that extra, I know you need 500 gold to complete the quest. I haven't really fleshed out the argument totally. I haven't tried it yet.
You're getting at.
But I think there might be something here. I might be grasping at straws as I talk about this, but I think there might be something here with this. It's kind of one of those. I'm just throwing it out there. That's what this night is about. I'm just throwing shit out.
Okay. Now, and I did misspeak. You don't need to complete the quest in order to upgrade to the tier 3 thing, though. But I don't know. I feel like you're still sitting on an item that, like a big part of the item you can't use a whole lot of the time.
It's actually like super slot efficient without the quest being completed for a second or third item. And if you're like Zac, for example, or Maokai, having all that extra health is just as important as having armor magic resist. So like picking a second item that's not some kind of resistance still makes them super tankier and helps them. Like I kind of go right to Zac with all this because Zac loves extra HP and whatnot because it helps him,
idly,
do more damage and whatnot.
I have been wondering if Zac support is a lot better now with all these changes.
I guess maybe.
I saw Zac in a rank game a couple days ago. So after the patch, I think it was a loss. I think
Zac
it was on my team.
or Zac jungle.
Zac jungle. He played well. I think me and him were probably the two strongest players on the team that game. But we lost, and I haven't seen him since. So hard to say after one match.
We lost to a Zac yesterday, but we lost to it was Zac Maokai, and they were just unkillable.
I think Zac is... I don't want to even call him sneaky good. I know Zac is good right now, but he's still difficult to play because of that Q change and being able to slap things together. Because you have to be able to know what you can slap together. For example, if you grab someone in River, you can slap them on the... the hell's it called? The little...
Scuttler?
No, you can do Scuttler, but you can also do it on the plant.
Oh, okay.
You can slap the person together on the plant to get the stun as well. So there's like little things like that. I think maybe you used to be able to do it on wards. I want to say you still can. Don't quote me on that though. Like if you have a ward that you're scrying or whatever at the same time, you can slap the person together on that. So there's like little sneaky things you can do with the Q, and you just have to be really, really good at doing that. It's not all jump into the back and hope to God you do something right. If you watch Dardoch, he played a lot of it this weekend. or last weekend and the weekend before.
Yeah, Zach.
Really likes it.
I mean, I expect Zach to start seeing more play just by virtue of how much play he got in the LCS. There are a handful of champs where that rule doesn't seem to apply. Rumble is usually one of them. No matter how good that guy is at pro play, he doesn't get picked.
That's my problem. Is a lot of these they're hard to play properly. Like you can do basic execution with them. Sure, you can just jump into Zach and hope you slap two people together, but I know I played Zach once and it just felt really odd to have my arms stretched out and trying to figure out how to clap people together. You have to have good mouse management skills is more what it is, mouse management, and understand where your cursor is at any point in time.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it just sort of like, yeah, I get that that remnant of aspect is slot efficient and everything. I just can't help but wonder if, like, for a third item, you're not better off going for something else at that point.
Might be niche based on the jungler, the type of jungler that's doing it. Like I said, maybe Zach, Maokai are the only two that can actually make use of it. I think Sejuani could, just because she gets a burst of... Well, I kind of wonder, because remnant aspect... here's the other argument. What is it? What's the rune that's giving you a bunch of base armor now? And magic wrist, where
conditioning.
No. I guess it has the proc to do it. What the hell is it called? What's the major?
Oh, aftershock.
Yes, giving you a ton of base armor and magic resist and whatnot. I wonder if because that's out there and making everybody super tanky, that buying early health is more impactful if you have that rune. So making remnant and aspect more powerful in that regard. Because a lot of those, even if it procs and you haven't been attacked, you've got a ton of extra armor and magic resist that would have essentially been worth the 500 to 1,000 gold you were spending to get that armor or magic resist, and now you have extra life on top of it, and you can't be hurt in that team fight.
Well, so let's go it this way. So, Todd, you play Dr. Mundo. I know you're known as the Garen guy, but you also play a mean Mundo. Are you ever looking at an item like this for him? It's health, CDR, health regen, all things that he likes. You're not wasting money on mana regen.
I mean, to be honest, no. And it's probably because of slot efficiency more than gold efficiency. When I think about items, even though most games end at like 30 minutes, or even sooner than that, I still try to make sure that what I'm buying is going to be efficient when I have all the slots filled out. And I think that for somebody like top lane Mundo, who has the income to afford something more than this, I think this is going to hurt your 6-slot build. So me personally, I'd probably skip over it most of the time.
I mean, I guess I see it like remember when Haunting Guys didn't have an upgrade to it, or Bilgewater Cutlass didn't have an upgrade to it, and the idea was that, these are good mid-game power items that people should be getting to give them, get some type of advantage, and ultimately they just always got overlooked until they had relevant upgrades to build into. And it was just because it's like, why would I waste my time with something that is only going to give me a brief power spike, and then my opponent's going to have a bigger one when I can just get that same level of power spike they're going for? Well,
I think the idea comes down to the fact that it's just junglers are generally speaking. Well, I don't want to say that. This is the time to say they don't get a lot of gold. They do get a lot of gold. I just think the idea with it being 1,900 gold, it's super cheap. It's easy for you to go back after a couple ganks, and then it's pretty easy after the fact if you picked it up to get that extra 500 gold on it. Now, granted, it depends how the game is going. The game kind of has to be in your control and your favor to make this potentially work, because otherwise you're sitting on an item that you can't upgrade. But, the overall, when you're looking at this, you're just kind of you're looking at it like, I could potentially upgrade this and add more wards for my team, and then, we can control more objectives, etc. I'll be interested to see if anyone adopts it, or if I'm just falling flat on my face. I'm totally okay with that, but I wanted to throw it out there. Maybe everybody tell me what happens.
Everybody was just building all the support items. They were a patch ago. They were broken. You had top laners building coin. You had junglers starting with the spell thieves. 80 carries were buying relic shields. So it was not long ago that everybody was buying all the support items. So you might be way ahead of the curve right now. But to me, it sort of feels like you're delaying a more important spike.
Let's mark it 7/30, 1/29, 2018. I called remnant aspect on future without it ever being changed. We'll see. I don't want to call it the last point. I have another point here in the document. For those of you playing AD carry, you didn't know, Relic Shield is out the door. It's gone. See ya. Don't pick it up anymore as a marksman because it's trash tier on anybody that wants to sustain. Because if you start looking at the stats between the two, Relic Shield is only giving you, what is it, 7.5% or 7... I have 7.5% HP. It's 7.5 or 7 HP per 5. Is that? No, that's not right. I have my numbers wrong. Either way. It's not healing you for very much anymore. Somebody give me the number. I know you're looking it up. I can't type.
I'm not looking it up.
Damn it. Now I have to look up Relic. Actually, I had it available right here. It's sitting Relic Shield right here. Aha. It's giving you 75 health. That's what it is. It gives you 75 health, 2 gold per 10 seconds, and it only heals you for 1% because you're ranged, right? That's what that is. While on the other side, Doran's Shield is giving you 6 HP per 5 plus 20 HP when you take damage. So in 40 seconds, that gives you 48 HP. For Relic Shield to do that, you'd have to be missing 415 HP, essentially. Making Doran's Shield better at sustaining than what Relic Shield is doing for you at any point in time because of the halved amount that you get healed back. And the gold, you can just throw the gold per 10 out the window because it's 12 gold a minute, and it's only 360 gold after 30 minutes, which is nothing. Like,
are you talking Doran's Shield or Doran's Blade?
Doran's Shield.
Okay.
Yeah, because you get the 6 HP per 5 plus the base health in Doran's Shield.
So you're saying somebody like Kog'Maw, who was going, who just wanted this heavy sustain to make it through a rough laning phase, now he just wants Doran's Shield instead?
Yeah, you get a flat 80 health, which is more than what you got with Relic Shield. The only thing you're really giving up is all the extra potions, but with Doran's Shield, you don't really need them because, as we saw previous to Relic Shield ever being good, Doran's Shield worked very, very well at healing you and keeping you healed throughout the laning phase. And that's why I also said last week that I'm curious if Overheal is now out and Triumph is back in because it's going to be too hard to keep yourself healed up past the point. Relic Shield's out. I don't see any reason to take it anymore.
Your supports will pour one out. We're going to miss the extra little bit of income coming our way.
Yeah, but we're also happy that the enemy laner isn't getting that extra income as well. You guys can just get your income like you normally do through the free 800 gold that you received.
Yeah, that's true. No, it only ends up being a free 400 gold. Like, it's 800 earlier on because you don't have to physically buy the Sightstone. But after you account for all the upgrade costs to get the max item, it's only 400 gold you're saving. So still nice, but let's not act like Riot did us a huge favor here.
Think about how many wards you can buy, Dom.
And I do. And that honestly might be why I'm not really feeling this at all, because I've always pumped money into control wards anyway. And while I've tried to be a lot more mindful about how many I'm buying when I do buy them, like, the reality is I usually try to walk around with, at least 2 in my inventory. And so I'm just probably not feeling the gold as much as other people who are less inclined to buy control wards.
Well, if my solo queue games that I've ever played have anything to say to that, if I have extra gold, I'm putting it into damage items. Anytime I play, any support I play, you know what? I got an extra 425 gold. Hell yeah, give me that amplifying tome, because that's going right in my inventory right now. Or yeah, anything else.
I wish more junglers would take Zombie Ward.
Oh, it's really good. Yeah, Zombie Ward's
so good. It's so good. But yeah, I mean, Beaver, we played some flex queue with Beaver, and I don't know if he just never run into it or what was happening, but he couldn't believe how many wards he was running into.
Because they were killing all the wards.
Just because all of the zombie wards that he was playing, he's like, how the fuck is there another ward here? What's going on? I'm like, it's zombie ward, dude. It's OP as hell. I just don't understand.
You have to kill the ward to get the zombie ward, right?
Or it expires. I think if it's friendly wards expire, or if you kill a ward, then you get a zombie ward. I can look it up real quick.
Yeah, that's a lot of wards.
Something that's related to Remnant, but not necessarily about it specifically. The changes to Frostfang have definitely impacted top lane.
I bet.
The 50% attack movement speed passive was really getting abused, and now I don't see Kennen as much now. That's pretty much what it comes
Vlad.
down to.
Kennen and Vlad.
Yeah, Vlad's still permabanned, so. But Kennen was the big one that was really messing people up with that one, I think.
It's funny that Kennen and Vlad, who don't have any mana, were the biggest abusers of that item.
So I'm telling you need to start playing the dog man. Start playing some Nasus. Get your dog on.
I need to expand my pool, dude. Garen sucks right now.
But all the one tricks I know, they just go for it. They just do it.
And I've been doing that for so long, and now I want to tear my hair out.
That's how I feel every time I try to play Jhin now for the last like year and a half. It's like, oh, this is like pulling hairs, just trying to get this right. Like if I don't get like 2 kills out of lane, I'm fucking worthless. And even then,
I do feel like you found the most OP champ in the game, and nobody else figured out that he was that OP, and so like he was left on the board, and you abused that to dive. Like, good for you. That's exactly what you're supposed to do to get to diamond and everything. But I sort of feel it's like you found the most broken champion and decided to main him, and like you're never going to be happy relative to that experience.
Probably not, because I probably never hit a win rate like I did with that either. Because I was rolling like 70, 75% win rate easy. But yeah, we'll see this season. I still got to play my solo queue games. I keep saying I got more time to play it, but then I got a 6-month-old, and she likes to go on for a nap, and I'll be halfway through a game, and I just start hearing her crying, and I'm like, God damn it, baby, just give me some time. Oh, I love.
Need a solid 30-minute blocks to game in peace.
I need a solid hour block. Like, to get one game of League in, I need about a solid hour between all the dodges and champ selection and shit. I need a solid hour. It's so horse shit. Like, I want to sit down and play 5 games. Oh, well, I got to block out 5 hours. And by the 3rd hour, my wife is breathing down my back and saying, get the fuck up. You need to help with the family. And I'm like, oh, I got to go be a dad, guys. I can't be a bachelor anymore. Anyway.
Responsibilities. They don't sound like they're very fun.
I like them. Hey, I like my kids, so. And I like my wife. All right, she's not
Well, I didn't say they weren't fulfilling. I just said they didn't sound fun.
No, you're right. The last point that I have is that, in my opinion, Jinx is still air quotes bad. Really, she's average. Jinx did the changes in Jinx while I was gonna say while they may have changed her win percentage. Last time I looked, she was under 50%. Which I think she was like 49.2 to 49.5 off of OPGG. She just doesn't. Even with the uncapped attack speed, she never does what Vayne, Cog, Twitch, or Tristana are ever capable of doing.
Well, Vayne got hit pretty hard, it looks like, between some of the most recent nerfs and then probably the Relic Shield stuff. She's still incredibly popular, and she's performing at about league average, despite that. But she's not like topping topping the leaderboards anymore. Kog'Maw is the new Vayne because he's picked almost as frequently and he's crushing everything.
I played 4 ranked games today, and I think Vayne was in all of them. She was either picked and banned in every game.
Oh yeah, she's still a popular ban right now.
And she got a pentakill in one of the games.
Well,
was it your Vayne?
Yeah, it was my Vayne that got the pentakill, believe it or not.
That feels good.
Yeah, it was nice to get carried.
At 49.5% win ratio to 25% pick rate, she's still doing damn good.
I'm not.
So
I'm not saying she's bad or that she's in the dumpster or anything like that. Just like, hey, they actually did manage to bring her in line. So ban her if you don't want to see her. She's really popular, but don't ban her because, oh my God, she's this broken 80 carry and we just can't have her around. It's like, well, now you have to know what you're doing with her.
Yeah, she can still be shut down early. She doesn't get all that extra healing. Isn't as safe early as she was, but she still does Vayne things. My big point with Jinx, the same thing I said in the last podcast we talked about it, was Jinx doesn't have true damage or magic damage or the range with the attack speed to make up for the fact that she's that her abilities give her attack speed. So like you don't roll into mid game doing damage. You are early game, late game when Kog'Maw does damage throughout the entire game, and the same goes for any of the other champions, Twitch, Tristana, Varus, and you can kind of like compare Jinx and Tristana together, but with Tristana, her range increases as the game goes on, as well as she's safe because she's not immobile like Jinx, and 2, she has an on-demand steroid, which is phenomenal. She has an on-demand steroid and a way to get people off her through her R. So like she's got more in her kit going for her if you want to compare those two, because they're probably the most mobile or immobile.
Let's not forget that Jinx lost 7% armor pen from the Masteries to Runes change. And like I know that might not sound like a big deal, and it's not really in the early game when a lot of people took nerfs in that specific respect. But like with so many tanks going on and tanks having such an easy time just getting resistances across the board, like that missing 7% armor pen ends up being a big deal.
When we played that game and I played Jinx, the only reason I picked Jinx in the game that we played is because all the other hyper carries were banned, and they had taken Kog'Maw. So I guess my choice really was Twitch, and I can't play Twitch, so I didn't touch him. And I was like, well, Jinx scales really hard into the late game. I just have to make it there, and that's what
Varus was up, but we were kind of overlooking him at that point.
That's right, and yeah. No matter where I was at in that game, even at the point where I was probably even with like the enemy, that was diving me, I felt like I was slapping people with a wet noodle because I always felt like I needed armor penetration, but I can't give up a second attack speed item for more attack damage and armor penetration because I'm still doing no damage. So there's going to be a lull of like 10 minutes, 12 minutes there where I'm not going to be able to do damage, and I'm just hoping that I'm able to execute somebody to pop off.
It's funny you say that because I kind of feel like that's the problem that Garen has right now, where he wants to build damage so he can combo down squishies, but the item choices right now, combined with the like rune choices, you're missing a lot of penetration if you go for like what I would consider to be like the optimal build. So against anybody with armor, even if you're ahead, like you just fall flat.
It's not like they toned down the amount of armor that was on all these items to compensate for the fact that they were getting rid of 7% armor pen that pretty much every like fighter or AD carry had.
That's because we know they didn't think about it, right? They're like, well, I was going to remove it and get all these things, and they didn't think about, well, all these people are going to be sitting on 100, 200 armor come mid-late game, and no one's going to be able to, push through that.
And that's ignoring shit like Aftershock, which is giving an insane, was always giving an insane amount, but like definitely is now. That like,
how do you change I
will never forget Beaver like just queuing in to try and steal Baron, not getting the steal, but just taking, like just sitting and taking all kinds of abuse, and then just queuing right out like nothing even happened.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I think he walked out with half.
I mean, he was on Sejuani. I don't know if he hit a hero, so I'm not sure Aftershock was actually going, but like it doesn't matter. He was invincible. He had like 3 carry champions trying to beat him down, and nothing happened.
That's why people like Jin.
Right out.
That's why Jin's at almost 46.26% win rate right now. He just can't get through tanks. He's never been good at that.
Crit's not good enough, and tanks have items they can build to make crit even less effective.
Right.
And it's kind of like the old Banshee's Veil problem. Like tanks were already getting a lot of magic resistance, and then now they also have something that makes the incoming damage, which should be higher, like even lower.
Yeah, it nullifies anything coming into the first one. You gotta blow rotation to get that off, but by that time they're already on your team. So there's some problems. Yeah, there's definitely some inherent problems. I like
it.
From
it should be like a fighter item, actually. It should be like a fighter item that has the crit reduction on it.
Oh, yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, in my opinion, from the actual preseason to where we're at now, I like the game a little better. I think my problem I bitch about this game potentially not liking it. I think my problem comes with the volatility of preseason and the no balance coming. Now I just like a little bit more balance. I don't need a gigantic shift in this game. I just need tanks to be brought down like half a peg, to twist that lever a little bit and remove some of that resistance so that we can get some more, so it's a little more fair. So I don't have to feel like I have to always be ahead to be able to do damage. Then my team's yelling at me, hey, AD carry, why can't you do anything? Because I can't get any kills because I can't do any damage. I'm just here. Now, maybe I should start playing like APC Ziggs with Nunu bot and just learn how to hit my Qs. Because maybe then I'll actually do some damage.
That was a good throwback. That was a good throwback. That was a good throwback.
Yeah.
Or play Corki, man.
Corki.
Bot lane Corki.
Corki does magic damage, but he still builds AD.
Don't play Corki.
Yeah, no. But that's all I got for this podcast. I don't know about you guys, but I feel the document I did it.
I guess we got one listener question we could tackle. It's sitting in my inbox here.
Did I send you more than one? I feel like I sent you a bunch, but maybe
I responded one. So we cleared them out last week. You were here. You, me, and Braille. Gangsby Dank, right? Wants to know we have any tips for top lane tanks in the current meta.
Yeah.
play them.
I mean, good tips.
Specifically, he's a Cho main, and he's adding Shen to his pool again just because he doesn't feel like Cho's in a very good spot against like these hyper carry agencies.
I mean, Aftershock is good right now. I think Sunfire Cape is strong. I don't think either one of those champs are necessarily good with Steris Gauge, but that item is good. Randuin's is really good right now. Bramble got nerfed a little bit, but I think Thornmail is still a good completed item. Abyssal Mask is good if you spend mana, and like on Cho'Gath, I could see it being pretty good. It would boost all your magic damage 10%, and it would give you extra sustain. Cho'Gath already, has a lot of mana and health sustain in lane, so you'd be like doubling down on that with the Catalyst passive. So I could see that being like a good option if you're against like an AP laner. If you're against like Ornn or Maokai, for example, somebody who deals magic damage. Shen's just good in general. I mean, there's not really much to say. You take TP and you have huge map presence, and you basically don't get killed in lane phase.
Good enough. I hope that answers your question. There's not much more to say, right? Like just build items and be a tank.
And we're gonna
tanks are kind of boring.
Beaver really wants to talk about tank itemization, and so we're gonna be discussing that on Wednesday. So stay tuned in for that show, because there will probably be a lot more follow up to your question here. But figured we got professional top laner Marine Revenge, so he could weigh in a little bit on that.
I'm Platinum 1 hard stuck right now, dude. I'm not professional at anything.
You got time. Long season in front of us, man. Season
that crunch that's still happening on what we're on week 2 of the season is slowly going to go out, and then that Plat 1 is going to be Plat 1 and not a bunch of Master Challenger high diamonds all in one little spot. You know what right now Plat 1's full of fucking egos, and all of the egos that were way out here and way down here have all been crunched to one little spot, and no ego can get together because they're all too goddamn big. They all don't fit in that spot.
That's a good analysis, to be honest.
A good analysis.
Yeah, so yeah, that's it. We're going to end it there. That's episode 506 of the Trinity Force Podcast. Guys, thanks for listening. Feedback at trinityforcepodcast.com. We've been getting lots and lots of emails. We've been replying to them. I've sent a few out. Dom sent a few to me to send out, and those people will say thank you. We love to hear from you. If you want to just say thank you, I love you, send it that. And if you want to send an MP3 because you want to hear it on air, send me an MP3. I'm going to make Lancer for work it in. I hope you heard that, Lancer. You're going to have to work it in. You can just send it to me via Drive or Dropbox. If you do ever send me an MP3 with a question, right, I reserve the right to not to play it or to edit it to be able to play it. So like if
just like we do with the questions, like there are a number of questions that come in, and I kind of have to pare them down a little bit just to for the sake of timeliness or to make them a little bit more relevant to a large group of people instead of just the one person. So if you send me an MP3 where for the first 45 seconds you profess your love for Todd and call him dog 100 times over, I will send him that piece of it, but then your question will only be the piece played on air. And I know he'd appreciate that as well.
I would definitely appreciate if in your question you say the word dog somewhere so that way we can air that. That would be really cool.
But you can start out with, "What up, dogs?" and then just keep going. All right, guys, that's it. That's episode 506 of the Trinity Force Podcast. These guys will see you Wednesday. I won't see you guys again until next week. So everybody have a good evening. Enjoy. Peace.
Later.
Later, dogs.